morning, TLC. I am Michelle. It is a Sunday afternoon. We just closed the store, and now I want to get 2 more containers done here at the garden center. We're going to do one that's pretty much in the shade, and it gets great indirect light, and then we're going to do 2 that are out in full sun. Now, it's only 2 recipes. We're going to match the pots together, but we're going to fill them with some absolutely gorgeous annuals. Come along today and learn the recipes of what we're putting together. Come on, let's go check it out. Today is one of those perfect days here in Northern Illinois, Zone 5. It is like in the lower 70s, there's no humidity, there's a little bit of a breeze, and there are like cirrus clouds just barely covering the sky. So it's not bright blue out, but it's absolutely perfect as far as like wanting to be in the garden and working. Now I had to work all day, which is okay, but now that we're closed, I can actually get some gardening done. So I thought I would get 2 sets of pots done that are here at the garden center. One is in an area that is between the greenhouse and the main building, and we set it up and we kind of create like a little porch area that's inspirational. Some of the things that are out here are for sale, some of them aren't. A lot of times when I'm planting up the bigger pots at the garden center, they're not for sale because they're usually broken. They came in broken and I don't want to waste them and throw them away. So we pot them up and use them for decor and inspiration here at the store. So I'll show you those pots in just a little bit, but first let's go over the recipe for the pot that we're going to do that's in the shade. Now the sun comes up over the building and goes that way, so sun does shine in here a little bit, but not back in this corner area where these plants are going to be growing. So I would call this bright indirect light or full shade because it's really not getting sun, but it's getting good light. Does that make sense? All right, let's go over the plants. As I was creating my recipes for the pots, one of the things that I decided I was going to do this year was in some of my planters, I want to use perennials. That way I kind of get a plant that's doing double duty, and I can put in the planter, it can be beautiful and gorgeous, and I kind of have a plan for when it's time to pop them out of what's going to take its place, and then we can just pop them into the landscape. But I think the 2 perennials that I chose for this recipe to go in the pot will probably be in here for quite a while before it's time to pot them out into the landscape. Let's talk about those 2 first. All right, so the first one that I'm going to use is a Lenten rose. Now, Lenten rose are absolutely gorgeous. Look at the beautiful leaves on this. And yes, it's got the beautiful flowers on it. This one here is called Frost Kiss Molly's White. And yeah, the flowers already bloom, they're white, and when they're done, they turn this really pretty green. But I love the texture of this. These flowers are a little more upright, so you're gonna see them. I planted this a couple years ago in a pot at my house, and it actually stayed in the pot almost the whole summer before I popped it out and put it into the landscape. Now we'll see how it does here in the indirect light in a bigger pot in a corner, but I think it's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. I love that the flowers are green now, and I love the texturing and the different variegations that's going on in the leaves. So we're gonna plant this one as kind of our centerpiece. Now, these pots are pushed up against the wall, so we're planting this like the centerpiece is in the back, and then we're gonna kind of come forward with it. So I love that we're gonna put this in the back of the pot. All right, so we have 1 for each pot. Now, if you wanna grow this in the ground, it needs 4 to 6 hours of sun. It's gonna grow 18 to 24 inches high, and you want it to dry out in between waterings. Now, the hardiness zone of this is zone 5 through 9, so I wouldn't be able to overwinter this in the pot. I would have to pull it out here in zone 5, because whenever you want to grow something in the pots and you want to leave it there all winter, you really need it to be able to handle cold 2 zones lower than where you live. So in zone 5, that's like minus 20. I would need this to be like a zone 3, which could handle minus 40. But alas, I will pop this out and put it in the landscape, and I've done that plenty of times and had great luck. The next perennial that we're going to use is a heuchera, and we are going to use the citronella because I want to really brighten up this corner over here. I want to use this beautiful chartreuse foliage. Now this one here, if you're going to grow it in the ground, it's going to grow 10 inches high and 14 inches wide. These are the same ones that I have growing over at my house. I have great success with these. These grow in zone 4 through 9, and they want part shade. And they really do well in indirect light like this, but they also do well with morning sun. Not so much hot afternoon sun, but look at the beautiful color on this. And when I plant this, I'm gonna plant it at a little bit of an angle so it kind of drapes a little bit. But this is a big leaf heuchera, so I'm gonna plant it more towards the back of the pot. All right, now let's talk about the annuals that I'm gonna pair up with them. One of my favorite plants to plant in the shade is a coleus, and I love the Color Blaze series from Proven Winners. The reason I love them is because they grow in this nice, beautiful mounding habit. They don't get the flowers on them until the very end of the season, so I don't have to come out here and pinch them off, and they get a great shape. So when it's time for me to pop out this heuchera and pop out this Lenten rose, I'm gonna have this velveteen coleus that's gonna take its place because it's gonna grow pretty big in the pot. Now these will grow in sun or shade, and I've grown these plenty of times in pots. They're gonna get anywhere from 24 to 36 inches high in a pot. In the ground, they can get upwards of 40 inches. So it's a fairly large plant. Absolutely beautiful coloring on there with that dark purple, and then that inside of the leaf that's got that beautiful magenta. These guys are absolutely gorgeous, and they are perennial in zone 10 and 11, but for me it's an annual, and it's gonna fill in the pot. So I'm actually gonna have like 3 fillers in here that are gonna be really big, but remember, I'm gonna pop 2 of them out as this one starts to take over and get bigger. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. All right, the other annuals that we're gonna put in the pot are gonna be the Surefire begonias. And I'm gonna use white, and I'm gonna use rose. So in each pot, I'm gonna use 2 of the white and 1 of the rose, and I'm gonna kind of plant them in a little triangle like this. So the white are a little bit back, and the rose is a little bit forward. These guys also want to dry out in between waterings, and they really don't need to be fertilized. Now, if you do fertilize them, it's not going to hurt them because I will be fertilizing this pot. The one thing with the Surefire rose begonias and the Surefire white begonias, or any of the Surefire begonias, is they'll grow in sun or shade, and they're really pest-free. They grow great in a pot, they grow great in the ground. They're very consistent, whether they're getting part shade, part sun, and that's what you gotta love about them. Now, they're gonna grow 12 to 24 inches tall, and in a pot, probably between 12 and 16 inches. In the ground, they do get all of 24 inches. They are a perennial in zone 10 and 11, but they are awesome to grow. I have had great success with them. I love this begonia, so we're gonna be adding 3 of them to the pot as well. Now I do want a little bit of drape going on because this is a taller pot. I'll show you in a second, but I am going to use the Creeping Jenny or the Lishmachia. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I like saying it that way, so that's how I'm gonna say it. This is a trailing plant that's got a beautiful green chartreuse color on it. It can grow as a ground cover, so be careful if you don't want this to spread into your garden, that you don't let these little tendrils touch the ground, because if they do, they'll root and then you'll have this in your garden. This guy is gonna get only 4 to 6 inches high, and they can trail up to, I don't know, I've seen them trail all the way to the ground from 3 feet up. So a good trailing habit, and they fill out really nice, and they're just a beautiful accent in your pot. I'm gonna be planting 2 of these on either side of the pot, so I've got the trailing going on. Now, in the front of the pot, I want it to kind of mound a little bit, and I want some really great flower power. So check out what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use Impatiens, and I'm gonna buy a 6-pack, and I'm gonna use the lipstick color because I like how this color pairs up against the chartreuse and against the Surefire rose begonia. So I'm gonna use a 6-pack, and when I put it in the pot, I'm probably gonna pair them up in groups of 2 and put 2, 2, 2. I like to do that because it bulks it up faster. But look at the color on that. And I like Impatiens because they mound up so beautifully and they're so easy to grow. So I'm assured that no matter what, I'm gonna have some beautiful color in my pot. All right, let's take a look at the pots, and then I'll show you how we're gonna place them in the pot, and then we'll plant them up. I am gonna fertilize with a slow release fertilizer. Now, the dirt level was about down to here, and I topped it off with new dirt. We ended up doing some beautiful winter containers in this, and we did plant this up last year. They were just in a different place. So we are gonna add some of our slow release fertilizer. And I'd say that's probably 3 tablespoons. All right, now one of the things that I did was I already pre-moistened my dirt from here down. That way this will receive water. And then I just topped it off with my Proven Winner all-purpose potting soil, put my slow release fertilizer in there, and now I'm ready to plant. When I'm all done, I will water everything in. We will go around to all the pots here at the store. I usually assign somebody to do it. We'll pick a day. Usually we do it on Fridays, but they'll go around and they'll water all of these with fertilizer in the water. And we'll use a water-soluble fertilizer. This year I'm going to use the Proven Winner one, and we're going to feed all of the pots. Remember, if you're planting annuals, they need food to give you all that flower power that you're looking for, so that way they perform all summer long. Now, these pots won't have to be watered as often as a pot that's out in hot blazing sun, so we'll probably check this one every third day to start with. Once the temperatures go up, then we'll start looking at maybe watering it every other day, but we'll keep an eye on it and back it up or water as we feel it needs it. I know that when you're in the shade, you know, they just don't dry out as much, and the bigger your reservoir is, the more it's going to hold water. Now, we don't have a self-watering system or anything like that. We just water the pots. All right, so let's get it planted. Now we're out in the parking lot, okay, and you can see I have a little urn right there, and you can see I have another one right there. Those are the two urns to the entrance of the store, and we're going to do those next. Now this over here, this is the little shade area that we just planted the pots up in, and you can see it's like a little bridge between the building and the greenhouse, and so that's where we planted the little pots. And I'll go over there and I'll show you those. We have some boxwoods and a statue there, and I don't know, some other things, and we'll keep putting things over there. It's still a little bit cold at night, so I can't put a lot of like plants over there, because a lot of times I like to put tropicals, house plants, and things like that over there, but it's just too cold at night. Maybe another 10 days, and we'll be able to deck that area out. But for now, we got the pots down, we got the furniture, we have some boxwoods out there. I did underplant the boxwoods with some white pansies, so that looks great. All right, now let's do these big urns. They don't look very big from here, but they're fairly decent size. Let's do those next. All right, let me run and get the cart. I have it all loaded up and ready to go. Be right back. All right, got my cart. I have some extra potting soil just in case I need it. We're just gonna put that over there by the building. I do have my continuous release plant food that I'm going to add to both of these. So I'm going to get that in both of them to start with first. Oh, I love the dirt. For my centerpiece, I'm going to use a Seneco Angel Wings. Now, I don't know if this is going to work in full sun. I've seen different conflicting information about full sun, protect them from the sun, full sun. I don't know. I've never grown this before, but Dusty Miller grows in full sun. So I'm gonna try it in full sun. Look at this thing. Isn't this gorgeous? So I got some in this year, and I'm like, I'm planting those in my urns because I want them to be in my face every day when I go to work. I want to see them and be happy and cheery, and oh, they're so soft. They make me think like when you pet your kitty's ears, the inside of their ear, yeah, that's soft. Or soft, fuzzy flannel pajamas. Oh, and the color is to die for. All right, so we are gonna put these as the centerpiece in the pot. Right there in the middle. That's gonna be spectacular. All right, what are we gonna pair it up with? Well, let's take a look. I'm gonna do purple, and basically I'm going to do a verbena. This is the whiteout from Proven Winners. This is a performing maniac. And what I love about this verbena from Proven Winners is that sometimes verbena here will poop out usually towards the end of July, and then you've got to cut it back and wait for it to like rejuvenate and bloom again. This one keeps going. I planted this in this planter 2 years ago. Ooh, was I impressed. It was really, really good. So I'm gonna do it again. And I'm gonna pair it up with the Royal Velvet Supertunia and the Bordeaux Supertunia. Now, neither one of these are vistas. I don't want them to gobble up and take over the pot. I want this all to play nice together. And I think when you use the regular petunias in a pot, I think that they're fabulous together. Now, I like vistas, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna probably use all of the vistas in the ground because I think that they're well suited to be in the ground to give you, you know, really, really full coverage with less plants. Look at the three of these together. Isn't that gonna be fabulous? And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna ring that Angel Wing Seneca, and I'm just gonna do these every other one. So I'm going to do white, dark purple, and then the Bordeaux. And that's what this one is. And then I'm just going to keep going around in a circle until I fill the whole pot. And I think I'm going to end up using 3 of each of these. Now I am also going to be tucking in though 3 wire vines. I like the texture of the wire vine growing throughout my pots. And so I'm going to be tucking 3 of these in as well. Isn't this great? All right, let's measure the top of this pot so that you know exactly how big it actually is and why I'm putting so many plants in it, because it's a big pot. Got my handy dandy yardstick here. Let's take a look. How wide is this pot? All right, my inside measure is 24 inches. So that's from here to here. That's a pretty big pot, and it will easily accommodate all these plants. Oh, upside down. And he's 36 inches tall. So this is a really big urn. I think it really shows up here in front of the store as far as you walk in the store and you see this big, beautiful pot and you're inspired. Yeah, so let's plant it up. Let's take a look at this one first. As you can see, we do have the Supertunia Bordeaux, and then we put the whiteout, and then we put the Royal Velvet. So we just went every other one, and you can see my Seneca is crazy dirty and full of dirt, and I tried to brush it off, but it doesn't like to brush off very easily. So I'm probably gonna have to get like a little brush, like a little paintbrush, and brush those off. I don't know if water will get that off. I don't know. I learned my lesson though, that those get dirty really super easy. So you saw when I did the second one that I took the pot and I dumped it over the top of the plant to keep it cleaner, and that actually worked. Let's go look. Yeah, because see, look at how dirty those leaves are. See, but this one is much, much cleaner. So little trick there, just throw the pot over the top of it or a bag or something to keep it clean, because it does collect that dirt fairly easy. So I love the way this one looks. I can't wait till this fills up. Can you just imagine that dark purple and the Bordeaux and the white all filling up, spilling over this bowl? It's going to be gorgeous. All right, and then if we come into our porch area, is what I'm going to call it. I haven't decked it out yet, but I will. You can see we got our boxwoods here that I underplanted with the white pansies. And then we have 2 more over here. And then look at our pots. Now they are getting a little bit of sun, but it's pretty late in the day. It's like 5 o'clock, so that's not hot sun. So it probably will get, you know, 2 or 3 hours. By the time the sun goes behind the trees across the street, this will be back in the shade. But I think these turned out really nice. I like the way they look. I can't wait till some of the flowers really start to pop on them. It's gonna look so gorgeous. See, and I love the green of that hellebore in there, the flower. I just think it's so gorgeous. All right, so there we are. There's those two flanking the furniture that we have going on in here. All right, aren't those great? Love it. 2 more pots done. Yeah, I can throw these away because I have finished the recipes on both those papers. Now we have quite a few pots done around the store. The next time you see me, we're gonna take a look at the gardens at my house and plant up 1 or 2 pots over there as well. I know, it's starting to warm up. We're starting to get going. I'm so excited. I got my hands in the dirt today. All right, I hope you get your hands in the dirt. I'm Michelle. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye, everyone.